No one transforms into an entirely different individual merely because time ticks by. Simply put, time does not grant resurrection. It does not bestow upon you a fresh start if you continue to tread the same path with the same old mindset and the same worn-out legs. Change does not occur merely by the passage of time or by the act of waiting long enough. It requires a radical commitment to live differently, to decide that you will not allow another day to slip by in the same way as before. The harsh truth is that what you truly need is not another year of passive learning, another month of contemplation, or an additional week of preparation. What you need is a decisive, unyielding choice, and you need to make it now. Every significant transformation in life is sparked by a small, often unnoticed decision. This pivotal choice delineates your existence into two distinct phases, the before and after. Those lacking strength believe change hinges on external circumstances, a shift in free time, a modification in others, the arrival of ample resources, or simply a stroke of luck. In contrast, the strong recognize a crucial truth. Without a steadfast moment of commitment to overthrow your old self, next year will merely be a faded copy of the previous one. Each extraordinary individual I have encountered embodies a common trait. They refuse to let their past, their circumstances, or their emotions dictate their future. They do not wait for the perfect moment to act. They do not seek further validation to elevate themselves. What they require is simply an awakening, a deep inner shift that only comes to those who resolutely declare, "Enough, I will change starting today." This declaration isn't born from certainty, but from a fierce refusal to remain mired in stagnation. You don't need to wait until you've amassed enough anger, pain, or inspiration to ignite change. What you need is a brutally honest dialogue with yourself. Stand in front of a mirror, look deep into the eyes that for too long have not sparked with hope or purpose, and confront a fundamental truth. If you persist in your current way of living, there is nothing truly worthwhile awaiting you. The moment you grasp that reality in your very core, the decision to change transcends from mere choice to a moral imperative for your existence. Many squander their lives anticipating the right moment to act, but opportunities are not meant for those who wait. They are designed for those who dare to create. If these words have reached you, it is no mere coincidence. A part of you is weary of stagnation, exhausted from underachieving, and quietly ashamed of the opportunities slipping away daily. If you don't seize this moment, ask yourself, what will truly be different this time next week? Will you find yourself ensnared in the same patterns of procrastination, chronic unfulfilled promises, and the ominous feeling that you are meant for something greater? Once you truly commit to change, everything within you will shift. You will cease to question, can I really do this? And will instead ponder, how do I ensure I never regress? This distinction marks the divide between living with mere intentions and living with unwavering commitment. Intentions can fluctuate alongside emotions. However, commitment remains steadfast, even amid emotional turbulence. If you genuinely aspire to change, abandon the vague intentions you have relied upon. Vow to yourself, write it down, declare it aloud, and transform into someone with no retreat option. You cannot embark on a new chapter in life if you cling to the old one as if it were your lifeline. Likewise, you cannot perceive yourself as exceptional while you continue to live as an ordinary individual waiting for a miraculous event to occur. Only miracle worthy of your belief begins when you completely transform your thought processes, your decisions, and your actions. Starting at this very moment, a decision may begin as an internal act, but it carries more weight than 1,000 spoken words. When you genuinely resolve to change, you will find that you are no longer hindered by fear, doubt, or shadows from the past. You won't seek any more external motivation. A fire will have ignited within you, one that no force can extinguish. Others may not pinpoint the exact moment you transformed, but they will be taken aback to discover that you are no longer the person you once were, bewildered by your newfound quiet determination. You will no longer crave validation, but will instead prioritize your own progress. By remaining loyal to your decision to reinvent yourself, the understanding of your transformation will be internal. You need only your own belief to propel you forward. Today, rather than compiling another to-do list or drafting elaborate plans for the future, write a single decisive statement. I will no longer allow myself to live small, not for another day. Recite this every morning. Let it be your guiding principle for every action you take. And if doubts linger, remember this. Extraordinary results originate from a simple yet powerful decision, executed with exceptional commitment. What follows is not merely an introduction, it is an entrance, one that you can either step through or choose to leave unopened forever. There are no intermediary paths or half-hearted commitments. You are faced with a choice to either move forward or remain stagnant. Will you endure another day in mediocrity, or will you commence a new chapter in your life right now? You cannot evolve into a new version of yourself while continuing to clutch your old identity like a worn-out garment. True change commences not from adding more burdens, but from shedding what is no longer beneficial. Every upgraded version of you requires a rejection of the past. You cannot ascend to a higher level without releasing the one you currently inhabit. The unfortunate reality is that people often find themselves stuck not because they lack clarity about what they seek, but due to their lack of courage to let go of what no longer aligns with their life's journey. The old identity is the strongest chain binding them to a life of mediocrity. Remember, you weren't born with your current identity. It was shaped over time through recurrent choices, accepted beliefs, and daily affirmations you cultivated. Because your identity is constructed, you possess the authority to dismantle it. The divergence between those who reinvent themselves and those who remain in their current state does not lie in the frequency of their failures. It resides in their ability to sever ties with a version of themselves that no longer serves them. If you are truly committed to change, your first step isn't one of improvement, it is one of cleansing. Contemplate the aspects of your current self. The procrastination, the familiar excuses, the knee-jerk reactions to setbacks, the need for outside affirmation, the apprehension of rejection, and the instinct to retreat at the first sign of difficulty. None of these traits are inherently you. They are simply extensions of an ego allowed to persist without scrutiny for far too long. Now is the time for you to ask yourself the critical question: why am I still holding on to these burdens? Do they still serve the path I have chosen? Transformation is not born from abstract desires. It occurs when you confront and acknowledge the parts of yourself that no longer belong on your journey. You need not despise the past version of yourself. It served its purpose, aiding your survival in previous chapters. However, you are no longer here just to survive. You are here to thrive. True growth cannot coexist with antiquated habits, mindsets, and environments. You cannot soar if you remain tethered to the ground. The irony lies in the fact that your old identity will not willingly depart. It will cling to you with familiar reassurances. Just this once. You don't have to push yourself so hard, or this is just who you've always been. If you're not vigilant, you might be beguiled by these cozy phrases, mistaken for guidance. But recognize this, your former self has no vested interest in your progress. It is solely concerned with your comfort. To embrace rebirth, you must choose between two contrasting alternatives, the safety of the old self or the initial unease of stepping into the new. You cannot select both. One option is familiar and comfortable, albeit limited. The other is unknown, challenging, and expansive. The choice is invariably clear, but do you possess the courage to act on it? If your answer is in the affirmative, take action. Identify every habit, mindset, and belief that has anchored you to a life of stagnation. Document them without justification or sugarcoating. Treat this list as a death sentence for each hindrance that has siphoned off your growth day by day, often without your awareness. Once completed, take this symbolic act further by destroying the list. Burn it, shred it, bury it deep in the earth. This is not merely a gesture. It is a declaration to your subconscious. I am done with this. A powerful symbolic act, performed with genuine emotion, can leave a lasting imprint on your mind, marking the actual moment of your transformation. Whenever the old identity comes knocking, laden with fear, procrastination, or surrender, you will remember that decisive moment when you severed your ties with the past and affirmed to yourself, "No, I no longer reside there." It's essential to grasp that you cannot construct a castle on crumbling foundations. Before you incorporate anything new, be it knowledge, skills, or beliefs, you must first clear away the remnants of the past. Approach this task like a diligent architect, unafraid to demolish outdated structures because you understand the value of building something worthy from the ground up. This journey of rebirth begins not from consuming new materials, signing up for expensive courses, or relying on external motivation, but from the moment you dare to assert unequivocally, "I am no longer who I was yesterday," and act as if that declaration is the unyielding truth. Liberation from your old self does not arise from more actions. It stems from courageously letting go of the right elements. So today, cease the futile attempt to repaint an outdated version of yourself. Step out of it entirely. Incinerate the mask you've worn for too long and stand with courage, stripped of all but truth. You are entirely capable of renewal, but only if you summon the audacity to obliterate what no longer serves the higher purpose you've chosen. No one can undertake this task on your behalf, nor can anyone else determine that it is time for your old identity to fade away like a withered husk. You must conduct this ceremony with solemnity, without emotion, akin to a warrior removing what is dead in order to save what remains vital. And once you take that pivotal step, no promise will hold more significance than that act of commitment. It doesn't require anyone else's acknowledgement. It is solely between you and yourself, accompanied by a silent yet powerful decision. I have chosen to live differently. When that choice is made, you cannot retreat. Turning back becomes impossible. Remember, no one builds willpower by consistently choosing the path of least resistance. Each time you opt for comfort, you are training your mind to yield to procrastination. Each declarate, I'll do it tomorrow, implants in your subconscious the notion that you can defer responsibility indefinitely. Yet as tomorrow comes, it bears new excuses, rationalizations for weariness, and seemingly justified reasons for delay. But do not confuse what is reasonable with what is truth. Reasonable justifications are the constructs we invent as an escape. Truth is the steadfast foundation that keeps you anchored to your goals. Successful individuals do not dwell in emotion. They are guided by principle. Emotions rise and fall like waves, but principles provide unwavering stability. The first principle that underlines those who gain inner freedom is this: always tackle the hard things first. Consistently choose the steeper path. Dismiss the easy options that yield no growth. Discipline is not a blind submission to harshness. It is a profound love for the future that deserves your dedication. You do not impose strictness upon yourself. Rather, you reject the notion that ease serves as a long-term solution. Do not deceive yourself into thinking that increased knowledge or inspiration will naturally strengthen you. Real strength emerges when you choose to act in opposition to your innate desire for comfort, when you rise on time even when unobserved, when you fulfill necessary tasks without external validation, when you commit to physical training, hone new skills, eschew social distractions, and combat laziness from within. That is the true foundation of resilience you are building. The human mind possesses an undeniable tendency to retreat to familiar zones that offer temporary safety. Yet ease is not synonymous with what is right or beneficial. An existence rooted in comfort weakens your ability to confront struggles head-on. Therefore, resilient individuals do not emerge from easy circumstances. They are forged through the rejection of unnecessary comfort. Every cup of coffee sipped in procrastination, every mindless scroll through social media, every second spent on trivial news, these diminish the strength necessary for a life of purpose and fulfills. Discipline remains the one attribute that cannot be granted or taken away. It is cultivated through monotonous repetition and the seemingly inconspicuous choices only you can make. Undisciplined individuals often believe they require motivation to take action. In contrast, those who exemplify discipline understand that action itself spurs motivation. This is the guiding principle for those who achieve remarkable things. Act first and let feelings follow. When you awaken, laden with feelings of inertia, that is not a valid excuse for delay. Rather, it presents an opportunity to strengthen your discipline. You are not a victim of your emotions. You dictate the influences that affect you. To genuinely pursue change, it is imperative to reject what is easy yet misaligned with your overarching intentions. Instead of indulging in those extra minutes of sleep, rise and seize the day, gaining an advantage over the majority. Instead of eating mindlessly to numb emotional discomfort, eat to energize and empower. Instead of waiting for inspiration to strike, cultivate the ability to act without it, for therein lies your strength. Each time you decline an old habit, you affirm your commitment to a higher expression of yourself. Keep in mind, there are no neutral choices in life. You are either cultivating clarity and resilience, or you are reinforcing patterns of procrastination and weakness. This does not demand perfection, but it does necessitate intention. You cannot simply float through life with the mindset of trying to avoid temptation. You must construct a system where temptation is rendered powerless. Discipline is not as rigid as it might appear. Instead, it embodies the highest form of self-respect. By embracing discipline, you communicate to the world, I do not wander aimlessly. I have a purpose, and I am willing to invest the effort daily to achieve it. Life does not respond to mere hopes. It interacts with the standards you set for yourself. If you permit leniency with yourself, do not expect life to treat you with seriousness. If you desire others to respect your time, your words, and your capabilities, begin by demanding that respect from yourself through consistent daily discipline. Lazy patterns of behavior do not simply vanish because you sidestep them. They are extinguished only when you replace them with disciplined actions practiced persistently. No one else can accomplish this for you. You must internalize this fundamental truth. What is easy is the sweetest snare, one from which most people never escape. Yet you possess a distinct awareness of that truth, and once you have acknowledged it, you can never feign ignorance again. So starting today, establish an unbreakable rule. Always select the harder option when confronted with choices. Tackle the task you have been evading. Initiate what you have been postponing. Complete even one small action despite feeling unmotivated. Each instance of doing so serves to reinforce your belief, I have control over my own actions. And through this transformation, you will emerge as the person you were always meant to be. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to stay updated with more motivational content. Like, share, and comment to support our work and spread the message.